Water. Hey guys, it's Shayla and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on the Jaclyn Hill palette, like I told you guys I was going to do in the review for this palette. So if you haven't checked that out, the link is down in the description, so please go watch it and like and subscribe. In this palette there's lots of cranberries and neutrals, and being myself, I fell in love with it instantly because, you know me, I love neutrals. I thought it'd be a great idea for me to do a tutorial on a cranberry sort of glowy type of makeup look. So if you want to see how I achieve that look, then keep on watching this video. Okay, so first things first, all of the eye brushes that I'm going to be using in this video are from the Morphe 12-piece Eye Credible set. So I'll link that down below so you guys can purchase that, because they don't have any numbers on them, so I really can't tell you what brushes they are. First thing we're gonna do is go in with a transition shade. I have the palette open right here on my desk, and I also have this picture of all of the shades and what their names are. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get this huge fluffy blending brush and go in with the transition shade, which you always want to use a transition shade when you are applying eyeshadow, because it sets a nice canvas for the rest of your makeup to blend well, or else it'll be really patchy if you, and not very pigmented if you don't use a transition shade. So I definitely recommend doing that. I'm going to go in first with the shade Silk Cream and mix it with a bit of MFEO. I'm going to take the brush and just put it all over my lid because it's a transition shade, so I'm setting a base for the rest of the shadow to go on really nicely. Just in case I haven't told you already, I did my foundation, bronzer, eyebrows, and everything like that just so we could focus on the eyeshadow. And remember to tap off the excess or else there may be a little bit of fallout. I will put in some, or put on some some setting powder when we go in with more colors, but right now this is just the same color as my skin, which you want your transition shade to always be your skin color or one shade darker. I might as well just go ahead and put some setting powder on right now. So I'm going in with the Morphe, oh my god, Morphe everything, Morphe sponge and some banana setting powder, and just going ahead and putting that underneath my eye. And with the transition powder, oh my god, why do I keep saying that? With the setting powder, you're gonna wanna bring it up a little bit to where you're creating almost a line for your eyeshadow to be. You see how that is right there? Kind of like a line. I'm just gonna do that to the other side. Using setting powder while you're doing your makeup is a huge benefit to you, because if there's any fallout, and if you don't know what fallout is, it's when you're doing your makeup and some of it falls down on your cheeks, on your under eyes. So that's kind of helps prevent that, and you can just swipe it all away. The next color that we are going in with is a shade darker than your transition color, just to create some depth. So we're gonna go in with the shade Butter, and we're just gonna focus that on the outer part of your eye. In circular motions, I'm just gonna put that there. I'm kind of doing like a C motion, if you can see that. And then once there's almost nothing left on your brush, you're just gonna move it into the crease a little. And then you're just gonna do the same thing to the other side. Now we're gonna go in with a little bit of a shorter haired brush, but it's still synthetic, just like this one that we've been using to blend. We're just going to use a smaller one for some of the darker colors so we can be more precise. Next color we're going to use is Roxanne, and we're just going to dab a little bit of that on the brush and tap off some excess so we don't be all messy up in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of that in my crease. Outer corner, focus it in towards the crease, and be very gentle when you're doing this. You see how I'm not really going all the way up here? I'm focusing it right in my crease over here and the outer end of my eye. And then when you're certain that there's almost nothing left on your brush, you're just gonna slowly bring it in towards your crease. You just have to be careful when you're doing dark colors to not be heavy-handed, and you don't want to bring it all the way up here because then it'll create like a raccoon eye where your eyes seem very, very closed and they're not open and bright, and more of like an almond-shaped eye instead of like a closed, heavy eye, if that makes sense. You're gonna keep going back and forth with your brush until you are happy with how it's blended out. And I'm just gonna repeat that to the other side. Motorcycle, how are you? There's always people on motorcycles going past by my street, and I'm like filming right in front of my window because I don't have any artificial lighting. So like sometimes, oh my god, lawnmower, it is not the time to start. Now we're gonna go back in with the bigger brush that we were using before and go right back in with the transition shade that we were using, which was Silk Cream and MFEO. And we're just gonna go right over top of that to make sure everything is nice and blended. We are gonna go right back in with the little pointer, the shorter version of the bigger brush that we were using. And we're gonna go on to the color that's right next to that. We are using the shade Jax. So we're basically gonna do the same thing that we did with the shade Roxanne. We're just gonna put it on the outer corner very light-handedly just to create more depth, but we're not gonna go above this bone right here. If you know what I'm talking about, above the crease, we're only gonna stay right in there. Just wiggle it around in there. To me, this is like kind of like a sexy, like cranberry look. I have no idea what I'm gonna call this yet, so whatever it is, I'm liking it. Repeat. I need some water. Okay, and now we're gonna go back in with the brush we started with, the huge brush that we started with, and we're just gonna blend that all up and go all the way up to the brow. Gonna go over that just so it all blends in very nicely. Okay, so this is completely up to you whether you want to use a matte color or a shimmer color, but for me, I personally like shimmers on my lid. I'm gonna apply the shade Creamsicle right in this inner part of my eye with my ring finger. Sometimes I like using my hands because I feel like it picks up the product better than if I were to use a brush, but it's completely up to you what you want to do. Everyone has their own preferences. Also, the ring finger is a great finger to use when applying something to your lid because it's the softest. Like it's the most gentle finger of all of the ones on your hand, if that makes sense. So now that I'm done with that, I'm just gonna take a clean fluffy brush. This one's a little bit longer hairs than the one that I was using before, but I'm just gonna go over that. Everything that I just did. It's a lot of blending. The key to having a flawless looking eye is to blend a lot. And that's what I think most people find. I feel like that's what most people find trouble with, is the blending part, but it's actually very easy. Okay, so now we're gonna go in for the brow bone highlight. I'm gonna go in with the shade In Light, which is one of the first shades in the palette. I'm just gonna use this flat eyeshadow brush, the shade In Light, and just go at the top of my brow bone right here at the very point, and then sort of bring it outwards very lightly. You don't have to have this intense of a brow bone highlight if you don't want to, and I take my ring finger and kind of blend it out because I feel like it works better than a brush. And you could skip this step if you want to. I just really like and recommend highlighting your brow bone because it makes everything look a little bit better, especially if you're a little bit heavy-handed and went a little bit high with your darker color. Definitely adding a brow bone highlight will help balance it out. Then I'm gonna go back in with the huge wow, brush that I've been using to kind of blend everything in and then just go right over that. Now we're moving on to the fun part, which is the shimmer on the lids. And for that, I'm going to be using the same the flat shadow brush that I've been using for my brow bone highlight. I'm just going to wipe a little bit off on my hand like this. And now I'm going to go in with the shade Little Lady. And a tip, if you're not picking up as much product if you want, or if it's not coming on as pigmented as you thought it would, a little MAC Fix Plus would work if you have any of that, or just wet your brush and then go back in with the product and it'll work amazing. So I have Little Lady here and I'm just gonna put it, I'm gonna focus it on the center of my lid. Oh, I have a hair there. I'm just gonna focus it on the center of my lid because when I open my eye and close my eye, I want it to be boom, right there, like focused, right in the center of my eye. And now I'm just gonna blend it out. And I'm just gonna stop there because it's kind of like a radiance. So it goes from that kind of pukey color and then it goes to the sparkly shimmer color that we have to this very cranberry mauve type of color. And I think that's really, really pretty ombre. If you wanted to take it all the way across your lid, that would look completely beautiful as well. Now we're moving into the lower lash line. You can obviously skip this step if you don't like having shadow on your lower lash line, but personally I think it just pulls the look all together. So I'm going to be using this flat, straight brush. I don't really know what all these brushes are called. I am not a professional. I'm just a kid with a camera, okay? But anyways, that's besides the point. We're just going to be using this brush in the shade Jax, the same shade that we used under here. And then we're just going to be dragging it along our lower lash line. And I'm just going to stop it right about there in the middle of my eye. And I'm not going to go all the way in. You could, of course, if you wanted to, but just for my personal preference, it's not something that I really like having. And you can bring your brush all the way up to where your eyeshadow stops and just go along like that so it all connects and flows. Now I'm just going to take this little pointer brush that I have. It's very round and pointy. I'm just going to go in and kind of smudge it out. I'm just going to wipe away some of, or all of my translucent powder because I don't need it anymore. And that's the magic of translucent powder. It just wipes away and you have that clean line right there. And to wipe that away, I use the e.l.f. powder brush. It's like $1 or something. I'm gonna use the Morphe Bullet shadow brush and I'm gonna go in with the shade Faint as my inner corner highlight. You can go as little or as extra as you want with your inner corner highlight. For me personally, I really like to go extra with my inner corner highlight because it's just something I enjoy. Some people don't like it, some people do. Like I said, all personal preference. Makeup is just something fun to do. Now I'm just going to curl my lashes and pop on some mascara. Okay, so I just popped on some mascara. I used the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black mascara because it is the blackest mascara that I have ever come encounter with. So I was just thinking that I wanted to add a little bit of something extra. Of course, you could skip this step if you want to. I'm gonna add some chocolate brown eyeliner in my waterline just to add an extra oomph. This is the Beauty for Real eyeliner and I'm just gonna put that in my waterline. Again, I'm just keeping it towards the outer corner so it has that almond effect. My eyes are already almond shaped, but I just love this shape so much I'm just gonna keep it. Just a little close up on the eye look. Okay guys, so that was the end of my makeup tutorial. I hope that you liked it. Please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and I hope that you subscribe to my channel and push the post notification bell right next to the subscribe button so you can be notified every time I upload. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you guys next Wednesday. Bye guys!